Here we go with hopefully not Gish Gallop this time. Here we go. Methinks you're woefully undereducated about the art of learn and discern spirit cooking. That's what I'm titling it. That's not what the video is about. So we'll try this one. Methinks you're woefully undereducated about what you're talking about. This is YouTube, and you're pointing out that I'm uneducated or undereducated about something I'm talking about. I'm sorry, but this is... I'm a computer security technician being asked questions about quantum physics and string theory, and the only thing anybody ever does to critique me, instead of just going and looking up the links below and maybe finding out I mispronounced a word or I'm just totally wrong, is they just come along and say, I don't like what that implies, and then they start quoting the Bible or gray aliens. It's not the gray aliens, it's the reptilians. Come on, let's get this straight now. Anyway, here we go. And because of that fact, that's not a fact. You're making an assumption that I'm undereducated. Being stupid, that is, you are literally helping the nuclear energy industry in their deception and are complicit in murder by proxy. But you haven't proven any murders because you're talking about Fukushima and there aren't any deaths from the radiation. It's the giant white elephant in the room. The deaths that happened from Fukushima weren't from Fukushima. The area had death because they were hit by a tsunami. You pudding heads, come on. You don't acknowledge any of the people who died. You don't acknowledge children being drowned or crushed. All you talk about is the non-existent death rate and saying it's murder because this must have been planned. There's a bunch of channels that have gone, I mean, nothing says doubling down like going completely over the freaking bend. They're starting to say, well, this was planned and on purpose, and it was for somebody. No, it was a nuclear accident, and it is, surprisingly enough, has not caused any actual deaths from the nuclear power plant. Period. I mean, it should have. Everyone assumed it would. Even Miku Kachu, I forgot how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry, the theoretical physicist assumed it would happen. He was wrong. Because he was. We didn't have any death rate from it. You can hem and haw this to death all you want to, but you don't have any basis for this. And saying you're complicit in murder and all of these hyperbolic statements, it's just crap. But this is what you do because you don't have a life. You're either paid or self-authorized. You don't have a clue about the damage you're causing real humans when you do the bidding of the devil. Now we're doing the religious thing. Now this is, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say this. God is the last bastion of psychotic, murderous cowards. Whether it be Catholicism, Islam, Christianity, the worst of the worst gravitate towards religions and make everybody else look bad. You're accusing me of horrible things that have not actually happened, that you're refusing to provide proof of, and claiming it's the devil. When someone invokes the devil or any other religious statements, they are demanding that you not call them on the fact that you have no proof of what you're saying, and you're trying to rile yourself up to be able to hurt somebody. That's it. This is you trying to give yourself permission to do the devil's work. You want to cause harm to your fellow man, and you're doing it by justifying that you're trying to save somebody, that it didn't get hurt. This is like people screaming about Pizzagate, or they're calling it Pedogate now. They're talking about all sorts of horrible things happening to people. Not one person is missing. All of the satanic panics and daycare center hysteria from the 80s. No victims. Nobody. Period. And the thing is, when something actually really does happen, this actually happens very rarely, but it does happen, everyone assumes first thing now that idiots like you are making up a story. Because you won't stop bringing up things that literally did not happen. And you wonder why people just assume that you're covering for the Catholic Church. Oh, well, let's not talk about... No. Let's talk about that. Post a video specifically calling out the Catholic Church for permitting the horrible stuff. Do it. Start with the obvious. I'm sorry, but I got to quote Homer Simpson. He's standing there in Springfield talking about, oh, we got to fix all these things. Oh, there's a crack in the sidewalk. We got to fix it. And then he finally just points at his own nuclear power plant and says, that's our biggest safety concern, because it was. I'm quoting a cartoon, but really, seriously, do we have to talk about nobody talks about this. And Waptak talks about a subject he knows nothing about. Actually, I know more than you do, because I actually look this stuff up. You just make an assumption. You're just reading back whatever your Baptist minister or whatever told you to say. You're just parroting other people's statements or watching stuff on YouTube or on the internet. You don't care about what's really going on. You don't care about anybody who's hurt. If you did, you'd care about all those children who were killed by a tsunami, and another tsunami that hit in another place, or a hurricane, or a tornado last year that killed some people. You don't care about these people. You don't care about anybody. You care about whatever pushes your narrative so you can sit there and chant and wave a sign and threaten people who have done nothing. I have harmed no one. I have literally hurt nobody. A very, very dangerous and deadly subject that kills. Yeah, lying about things that didn't happen does actually cause people to be hurt, because somebody riles themselves up to the point that they go off and shoot somebody. And that's you. You're doing the devil's work, not me. You better stop being on the side of evil. No, you better stop being on the side of evil. You need to check yourself. And stop riling yourself up to trying to do what you think is God's will. It isn't God's will that you go off and pick fights with people, or hurt people, or blame people who have done nothing, and then ignore people who did do something. Like that thing with Haiti, and everybody decided it had to be Hillary Clinton. There was someone there who was doing something bad, and none of you mentioned that person because they literally had nothing to do with the Clintons, so you don't give a damn. That person went to prison. The people you complain about were exonerated because they didn't actually hurt anybody, as far as anybody can tell, and nobody has actually claimed that they hurt anybody. And I don't know if you know that. Nobody in Haiti is claiming they hurt any of those children. Meanwhile, someone who's guilty of doing it did go to jail because he was accused, found guilty, and thrown in prison. You don't mention that. You don't mention a successful capture and imprisonment. And you just keep making false statements over and over again. And you guys just scream louder when you're proven wrong. This is the same sickness that makes it to where nobody points out the Catholic Church not literally punishing people. And also maybe changing their policy to where people are allowed to have normal lives instead of abnormal ones, being part of the priesthood and a lot of other components in society. Learn to discern truth. Oh, you mean where you say things that are patently untrue and then just scream it louder when people point out you're wrong, and then you act all self-righteous, like every horrible thing that every one of us has put up with when we dealt with some psycho like you? Burn in hell. Oh, sorry, too late, you already are. And I'm supposed to embrace humanity. I do. I assume the best about people. I can't do that to you. You've destroyed my ability to believe that you are worth saving from drowning. I don't care whether you live or die. I want you to go away. And if you're the one who posted this comment, I don't want you to comment anymore. You're a self-righteous, indignant, overbearing, arrogant, judgmental twit. Why are you calling me ignorant when I state things that are demonstrably true, and you say things that are literally not backed up by anything? You're ignorant. Because you're actively ignoring facts. Okay, now we'll get to the next one. This is the spirit cooking statement. I don't know if this is good or bad. I'm reading these cold. Pretty sure it is that the art, the spirit cooking, and dodgy connections to random places that make no sense for political class to be. I have no idea about Pizzagate. I'm not exactly sure how to parse this. Here we go. But the Podesta brothers, their inner their circle and influence make it what it is. Strange point of view. People go over the top on everything. Herd mentality. This does not mean that institutional abuse is not existing. Thank you. Now we're at the point where things go off the rail here. It clearly is. Why not mention that part? I just did. Why don't you? You scared? If you're in certain parts of the world and you criticize the Pope, you go to prison. I can criticize the Pope. Here we go. Are you hoping for some relaxing of the laws yourself? Freaking weirdo. So literally in the last part, because you say I'm not mentioning the part you're talking about, you don't specify it, and I specify outright it's the Catholic Church permitting this stuff, and also tacitly ignoring it because they require everybody in the Catholic Church to live an abnormal, unnatural existence where they're not allowed to get married or have relationships or have children. That's the crux of the matter. It only people who can, I consider this a very unpleasant and poisonous environment. And then you decide to, why not mention that part? I have. I'm talking about something that really is existent that we know about. That's boring to some people. And then you say, is Waptek hoping for some relaxing of the laws himself concerning this sort of thing? And then you call me a weirdo. So your comment didn't post. You had to do the truther tax by saying an immense number of things that are completely, utterly correct, most likely. I'm having a hard time parsing it, but it could be a language issue. And at the end, you decide to accuse me of being a pervert because you can't not do that. You have to do this. You have to be provocative. You have to do these sort of things to get a reaction. You have to do this because you can't control yourself, which is the definition of the kind of person who molests children. Everybody instinctively has a innate internal drive to take care of children. When people when you see videos on the net of people finding small baby animals, bears or whatever, their normal response is to try to take care of it. And almost every animal has the same desire, male or female, because it's in their best interest to respond to these very simple physical characteristics in the creature that says it's off limits for eating it, it's off limits for worrying about it being a threat, it's off limits. And it's also off limits for the obvious subject we're trying to dance around here. That's normal. People who do not have that aversion from harming or doing anything to a baby mammal or baby living thing have something really wrong with them in some cases. Some of them respond to the overwhelming drive within them to care for an animal or a person or a baby by lashing out and being violent to them. I know I've met a couple of people like that. They have an overwhelming desire to kill. They don't know why. And then you find out later, after they've gone through plenty of psychotherapy, it takes about 5 or 10 years for them sometimes, they find out it's because everything they ever loved in life was taken from them by somebody when they were younger. They lost it. They were, their dad or an uncle beat to death their puppy or something. So they have horrible responses to stuff. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's just something broken in the person. And you can find, if you want to do this, you can look up people who have these tendencies who have decided they'll never do anything like this. And they don't like this because they can't fix it. Because it's something actually wrong with them. And they'll tell you flat out, no, if it's something wrong with someone with this kind of thing, the only thing you can do is make sure they don't have the temptation. So they can't be trusted around children. Period. Full stop. And they'll tell you that. It's not some moralistic thing given by the devil or God or anything. It's just that there's something broken in them. There's something wrong with them, and they can't fix it. And in almost all cases, obviously, because this would prevent it, they don't have children, and this doesn't get passed on. It's an extremely unusual characteristic in every living thing because it would result in the parent destroying its children. That's why it's so rare. That's why we have a problem with it as a species, because it's counterproductive to us producing children, caring for them, or being tolerated by others. And we're rational enough as a species, as humans, if we recognize this in ourselves, sometimes we can control it and make ourselves not a problem. I wouldn't want the laws relaxed at all. I'd like them applied evenly, especially to people in power too. And you're getting in the way of that, you people, because you keep making this about how you feel and how you're going to self-aggrandize yourself by playing this game. I don't have much of an effect, but you guys are dragging everything down. You're working on the wrong side. That's the end of it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.